YouTube, this is Rescue Me Some Park Fan 62. WWE Triple H versus Vince McMahon. No, it's not a match, but this is what the WWE is like under both. I'm gonna compare the two and see which one is better. First, I will start with Vince. Now, he ran WWE for the longest time, and the way he ran it was rather interesting because every week each show would vary. Um, and so like Raw would be sometimes be good, SmackDown would be crap. Sometimes SmackDown would be good, Raw would be crap. So the inconsistent that's what was getting him. Plus, not to mention as well, the TV channels, Fox and USA, owned by NBC, I think they were starting to get a little frustrated with Vince and the numbers Raw, SmackDown, and NXT were pulling. Because, for example, Raw's lowest overall viewership was, I think, 1.3 or 1.4 million viewers. And that is not including um, tape shows or something like Saudi Arabia pay per views and stuff like that. So you have that. Also, all of them basically were, you had to go by a script with what they told you, even if it sounded childish. And so that was one of the big things a lot of people weren't happy about, especially Roman Reigns' first, like when he was on the main roster, uh, before he changed, like how he was saying something like suffer and succotash or something like that, to make it sound childish. And so you, uh, the biggest problem Raw and SmackDown got was they were so predictable at times. So you knew who was going to win, maybe based off before. And then the other problem too was you were having all these constant rematches. So sometimes you would have a match, three or four rematches at a time, and you're like, enough. And then the other main problem was he was giving the same people title opportunity after title opportunity after title opportunity, and not giving a lot of the other men and women the chance um, for that. Um, so for a while, one of the biggest feuds, I think this was in 2016 or 2017, was Sasha versus Charlotte. The, the feud itself was fine, but the main problem was they were playing like hot potato with the title. Charlotte would win it, and then not long after, Sasha would win it, then not long after, Charlotte would win it. And it was just becoming a constant thing. And that's what I think a lot of people were getting sick of. Also, when they introduced the 24/7 championship in 2019. At the time, I think it was to help with the third hour of Raw, which I will get to that in a minute. But the main problem was is that you have, the 24/7 was meant to be sort of like a gag uh, title. And it was just one of those things where it was like sometimes you would have multiple people winning that title all within a span span of like 5 minutes. Um, because I remember going to a Raw where like two of the commentators won it and so forth, and you're just like, what's happening here? So that was one of the things. Another thing too was Vince's version of a WWE superstar. Now, when you look at other wrestling promotions out there like Impact Wrestling, AEW, New Japan, and a lot of the smaller independent promotions, you will see there are different types of wrestlers out there. You have big wrestlers, then you have small wrestlers, then you have some that like to do the flips and everything else. And then you have all these wrestlers that like to do all these different things. Well, the problem Vince had was he did not like that by any chance. So his version of a superstar is somebody like Braun Strowman or Batista or somebody like that. And so, but when it came to stuff like the wrestler Mustafa Ali, um, Grand Metalik, and basically the whole like 205 division, I don't think he really liked that type. So basically, what happened is he would probably make that type as short as he could. So most of the 205 matches when they were on Raw were like 5-ish minutes long, maybe 10 at most. And it just got to be annoying because basically once they cut the 205 roster or show, I should say, it they basically sent a lot of the talent to either Raw or SmackDown. So, and then some back to NXT. And it just got to be annoying because you would see them doing that. Um, so it's stuff like that, and then the way he treats the women division at times, because sometimes he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this," and then um, either falls through, doesn't happen, or something like that. For example, in 2019, I think it was, or 2018, I'll find out the year and put it below. They did Evolution, the first all women's pay per view. Um, and they were hyping that up for a while too. I think since right before SummerSlam of that year. And so I don't know the numbers it did on the network, so I can't say that much, but I can say from the look of it, at least with the crowd, it looks like it was fairly decently packed, and they had women from Raw, women from SmackDown, they had women from NXT, and then they had the finalists for the one of the tournaments they were doing at the time. Um, so, and then they brought in legends as well. So they brought in legends like um, Lita, Trish Stratus, uh, Alundra Blaze, and all these other women from like the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, and stuff like that to do different things. Like the first match on the card was originally supposed to be Alexa Bliss and Mickey James versus Trish and Lita. Well, at SummerSlam during that time, right before Alexa got injured, so they had to tweak that. So it was Mickey and Alicia Fox versus them. Um, so it was stuff like that. Um, and it was just becoming this thing. Like the battle royal they had was neat because you had people like Maria Kanellis, who recently had her baby. It actually looked great too. Um, Then you had the Iconics. You had Ember Moon. You had all these other women in there, and then the Iconics came out last, and at the time they were heels, so they were showing that side, which was neat. And since then, they have not done Evolution 2 because of supposedly Vince said it wasn't a moneymaker. If that's true or not, I don't know. So now, for Survivor Series, for example, you had it was basically the same thing every year. You had Raw versus SmackDown, except 2019, which you had Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT in the mix. So you had that. Now Triple H's version of WWE is a lot different. He's looking for different size wrestlers, and not really so much like college athletes like Vince did with NXT 2.0. Plus, I think, or Triple H has given him a lot more freedom when it comes to promos and stuff like that. Morale's backstage, from what I've heard, are a lot better. Um, and it's stuff like that. He's bringing back a lot of the stars Vince and then fired during 2020 and 2021, like Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Karrion Cross, um, stuff like that. Now, I forgot to mention with Vince as well, when Karrion Cross was still the NXT champion at the time, he lost to Jeff Hardy in under 5 minutes on his debut of Raw debut. So Triple H is slowly building it back up. Um, SummerSlam, which was his first official premium live event at the time, it actually was not bad. And then his first full premium live event that he booked was Clash of the Castle in September, and that was not bad either. And then so forth like that. So, and then they've rebranded NXT back to sort of like the black and gold brand, but it's slightly tweaked a little bit. So you have that sort of stuff. And um, but it's taken time for him to fix all of Vince's mistakes. And the biggest thing is fixing all of this, and it's going to take time. But overall, with Triple H's version of WWE is a lot better than Vince's.